All right, ladies and gentlemen of Speed Gaming, hello and welcome to the second qualifier overall and of the day for the Dash Randomizer tournament. And we're having a one-day tournament in January. It'll be on January the 18th, all day long. And we're excited to have the second qualifier here. Earlier today, we had 4 players qualify. We will have 4 more tonight. Curious to see who it's going to be. Tonight, I'm joined on commentary by none other than Tracy M. Tracy, how you doing tonight?
Fantastic. Looking forward to watching some randomizer with the different little twists that you've added into this Dash randomizer. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and some of those changes were on display earlier in the race. So we'll detail a little bit of the changes. We're going to try to avoid having to explain it over and over and over again during each qualifier. But you can type in !dash, and it should be that will take you to our tournament page. And then from our tournament page, there's actually a link to go to the regular page, so you can actually see exactly what the Dash randomizer is. But to make a sort of a long story short, Dash is intended. The Dash randomizer is intended to allow more diversity in terms of how people can complete seeds. So we've made some functionality changes to some of the items, including Charge Beam, Spazer Beam, bombs, and the gravity suit. So Tracy, do you want to take a minute and maybe just tell us a little bit about 1 or 2 of those changes?
Well, the one that I think is the most interesting, of course, is the gravity suit change, which now in vanilla Super Metroid, the gravity suit is full on heat protection. When they create the randomizer to make it not super overpowered, so that the various suit becomes obsolete. It was changed so they didn't protect against heat damage. Well, this kind of meets it halfway. So the gravity suit is going to do half heat damage to allow for easier hell runs in general and make lower Norfair as a hell run a more viable strategy in general.
Yeah, let me talk about that for a second, because we had a really interesting circumstance last race where I think we had roughly 15 people that raced, and only one of them ended up getting various suit. But here's the key. Just because the gravity suit can now be used to kind of hell run through lower Norfair, it's still not free at all, because we had several runners forfeit and die down there. And the runners that did make it, a lot of them had to go slower because of it. So even though we have more potential ways to complete seeds, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all going to be easy. And just to give a quick recap of the first race, Zoast here is on the restream. He actually was in line to finish in one of the top 4 spots and qualify, but he accidentally forgot that he didn't have the various suit on, and he damaged himself down at Mother Brain, and the Rainbow Beam ended up killing him. So hopefully, if he or anyone else dies in this one, hopefully it won't be because of that. But the gravity suit's a big change. Also, all the runners start with what I call a starter charge beam. This means that boss soft locks are impossible. It also means that if you're willing to, you can do some low percent fighting and maybe not have to find that charge beam or a ton of ammo. But that starter charge beam only does 30% damage. So you really got to be well versed in your boss fights or supplement with minor items if you want to still move fast through the game. Speaking of that, our minor item distribution is 34, 14, 18, which means that there's only 14 super missiles in the game. And that means that it's a lot harder to find just, tons and tons of supers to make some of those boss fights easier. And then I guess last, you want to tell them a little bit about Spazer Beam and bombs? Because we got bombs right here, actually.
Yeah, the bomb.
Can't hear Tracy. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I'll take over, and then when she gets back, she can. Oh, are you back now?
I never left.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you. I don't know what happened.
Okay. So yeah, the bombs. Basically, the big change for the bombs is that in Wreck Ship, there's that reserve tank that you can't get without speed booster. So those blocks can now be blocked or blown up with just regular bombs, not power bombs. Has to be the regular bombs. And then, of course, we decided to make a little more functionality with Spazer, allowing the Spazer Beam to get them through both the waterway area where that E-tank is, which is a major item, as well as getting through to Batwoon in Meridia.
That's right. Oh, we got a plasma beam off the beginning. That is very good for the runners in terms of boss fights. Even if they don't find the vanilla charge beam for the 100% charge damage, they already have the starter charge beam. So at minimum, even if you never find charge, having that plasma is going to help a lot. So I'm sure Zoast is quite happy to find that.
Yeah, and having plasma beam in with this charge beam setup is kind of similar to having a much lower. I don't know the exact numbers. I haven't worked it out, but I think it's pretty similar to the having a regular charge beam with a lesser beam combination. So anybody that's used to doing any kind of low percent is going to be very happy to have that plasma beam for those boss fights later on.
For sure. I got to point out FenixDown just real quick. This has nothing to do with Dash, but FenixDown is using a custom sprite palette that actually he sort of commissioned, like he helped me commission from an artist who happens to be Fruitbatsalad's wife. She made a bunch of custom skins for me for our randomizer league too, and this was Phoenix's that he designed, and I raced it in one of my races and then turned it over to him. So very cool to see. It looks great. I like it.
And an early speed booster, so won't be needing that Spazer Beam, I guess.
Oh yeah, so that means the waterway check is open through the sort of natural way.
Yep.
And just so everybody knows, the Spazer Beam and the bombs are not actually in the logic. In other words, they're sort of operating outside of the logic, and that way you make seeds even more sort of diverse. But I mentioned this earlier, and if you watch the first race, then you'll definitely understand what I mean. We added a lot of new functionality and a lot of ways to complete seeds, so there's a lot less hard gating, but that by no means makes these seeds free whatsoever. There's a lot that goes into it, and there's a ton of diversity in terms of choices for sort of like macro strategies. So it's really going to be interesting to see who comes up with the best race strats with all these changes.
Yeah, and by not being part of the logic, and Phoenix going for that Spazer Beam is going to be disappointed when he sees that plasma beam shortly thereafter, assuming he remembers to go check the Terminator item. But to finish the thought about the putting things in logic, so you're still not going to find Speed Booster in Waterway, for instance.
Correct.
So
that's right.
You're not going to have to get bombs to get your Speed Booster at the Wreck Ship Reserve.
Also, another thing that we had some people ask about if our randomizer is connected to the Varia randomizer. It is not in any way affiliated. In particular, looks like Zoast. Okay, there we go. Looks like Zoast having a hard time picking up that energy tank. I think there's some kind of small glitch when you power bomb that egg. But anyway, if you're watching Randomizer Season 2, which is what we're currently in the playoffs for, the way that Randomizer works, it kind of has like these progression seed speeds or whatever, and so it sort of places items in a different way. This is not really like that. So if you see anything that happens to be kind of troll, it just worked out that way. It wasn't necessarily trying to force you in a certain direction. So there's a lot of open concepts, not only in terms of items, but also how the items are placed.
Yeah, this is based on the total randomizer from the tournament from a couple of years ago, where basically it puts everything randomly, making sure that you can complete the seed, whereas the Varia randomizer has a certain progression that the seed intends you to follow. Whether you follow it or not is a totally different question.
Right. So, and again, as I mentioned before, one of the things I'm most excited about that we really saw in today's earlier race is the way the choices that you make in this particular randomizer, the way the choices that you make affect what happens in the future at like Mother Brain or Ridley is pretty drastic. So it's going to be interesting to see how people adjust to the way this randomizer works as they continue to, test more seeds.
Ooh, and my favorite item, Space Jump over at the Wave Gate. So that means I get to do this.
Space Jump, let's go. Space Jump is one of those items that, like if I get it in particular, I love getting it early because it can have a pretty big impact on your movement when you don't have high jump boots. Like it helps you anyway, but in particular, it can really help you in a lot of rooms if you don't have high jump boots. Looks like Zoast is heading back. He didn't have a power bomb earlier to get into the Eticoon's location. In fact, I don't think anybody did. So he's going to be our first person to check this location unless I'm mistaken. There's a question in the chat about the Rainbow Beam. The Rainbow Beam has never been affected by gravity. The only thing that affects the Rainbow Beam is the Varia suit. So you will still take 600 damage from the Rainbow Beam if you only have on the Gravity Suit.
This is interesting. Zo's going back up. I wonder if he's going to go ahead and check Gauntlet and go into the wreck ship from here. This is not usually the way you would do that, because normally you would go up Red Tower, but since he went back to check the Edacoons, I think this makes a certain amount of sense. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not going to be real happy with what he finds at Gauntlet, but he may just save and reset that one.
I don't think he's going to check Gauntlet at all. I think he's just going to head up and go straight to the wreck ship. We'll see, though. I mean, I can see it being both ways.
Oh, there's no question he's going to the wreck ship. Just a question of does he check Gauntlet first or not, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I would in this situation, but then again, it just depends. I would already feel pretty strong with the items I had. To me, the Gauntlet check would feel a little slow. That was
nice Shine Spark.
Yeah, nice Shine Spark there.
And Toasty giving us our first look at X-Ray. We get a Wave Beam.
Yeah, it looks like Zoast is not going to check that item. And Toasty find a wave. That's actually pretty big early. In particular, if you do not find regular charge. The cool thing about our starter charge beam is even though it only does 30% charge beam damage, it still does 100% damage with SBAs and with pseudo screws. So X factors are now technically on the table for Toasty if he ever wants to take off the plasma beam.
Yeah, Zo's just beeline it for the wreck ship there.
And I'm just going to be honest with you, there's almost no one alive who does wreck ship better than Zoast anyway. His Phantom fights are phenomenal. He's got excellent movement, even though he's got a kind of a weird item set here. I like this call, because especially with Space Jump, moving very quickly through that room, and that's a huge find. All these super missiles are at a premium, so that's very nice.
Okay, Toasty going to give us our first look at Spazer and get Spring Ball.
Hey!
Always a nice, fun item.
Shoutouts to our #1 runner from race #1 earlier tonight, Sloters. That's his favorite item. So, by the way, just to mention again, our 4 qualifiers so far. We're gonna have 4 qualifiers. There was one earlier today. There's this one is the second one. We have 2 more next Saturday, and in each race, 4 new players will qualify for the one-day tournament in January. So far, our 4 qualifiers are Cross Product, Sloters, Aussie 101, and Zeb 316.
All very good runners. 3 of them in the current league season. Austin was not in this season, but he was in last season. And all are playoff runners from at least one of those seasons. So
that's right.
A lot of really good players coming up in this tournament. So really looking forward to the one day.
Nice stutter doppler there by Zoast to get in a few more missiles on the first round. Ooh, nice air. Oh my gosh, that was gorgeous. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah, I can't do that.
Well, not many people are great at getting a 2-round air doppler.
Oh, that is so impressive.
That was nasty. One other thing about bombs, even though they have more functionality and dash with the wreck ship item, it's not going to matter here because Zoast has speed booster. But I don't know about you, Tracy. Some people are like, oh, bombs, crappy item. I'm always happy to find bombs, especially early in a seed.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it just lets you be very natural with your movement.
So my thinking, bombs are, in Randomizer, bombs are a bit of what I call a luxury item. So you can do all the stuff with power bombs. When you only have 5 power bombs, you really have to be conscious of your power bomb management because there are places you can and will soft lock if you don't keep track of that. And bombs just takes all of that away.
Totally.
Oh, it's screw attack. Ooh, the unstoppable space jump screw attack combination.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got the Maverick. Let's go. But yeah, space jump in particular, I think is extremely useful in the wreck ship. Early in a seed, like this is really good for Zoast because it's going to make the checking the item at the energy tank, way easier. It's also going to make for some players, the attic way more comfortable, and it's going to mean he doesn't have to worry about his health when he goes through bowling. So this is Zoast is in a really strong position here. Even if he doesn't find any more progression items up here, these energy tanks can be quite helpful because if Varia, for example, ends up being like deep in Meridia, but you have a ton of E-tanks, someone like him could just go ahead and run through lower Norfair, without significant issue. Oh my
baby.
goodness. Yeah, this is about to be a good one for Zoast.
Absolutely. That Variosuit, that is huge. Now, he could just decide to leave the wreck ship right now. What would you do in this situation, Kip?
Well, it just depends. This is a hard question because it depends on what kind of race you're in. Who are you racing? How many people are you racing? What are the stakes? If I were him, I would go ahead and check the last 2 items, just because if A, it's anything good, then that means that I'm going to have it for the rest of the run. And then B, if it's only energy tanks, for example, well, then those are extra item locations I might can skip down the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think especially since you're playing the field here, I think it's within his best interest to just go ahead and check it. I might make it. I might say something different if he was playing a particular. This was a 1v1. Then you have to think about who are you playing, what are their tendencies, and that sort of thing. But he just needs to finish in the top 4, and he's already in good position to do that. I think he would lose more by skipping this item and it being something good than he would gain by skipping this item and it not being good.
Yeah, if the way this seed has already played out, and again, I'm being a little general here. There are technically some situations that could come up, but Zoast with his ability, if he just kind of had an average run for the rest of this time and just kind of cruised, he's going to be in fine shape. This is not a super duper troll seed, and even if he had to do Suitless Meridia, he's already good at it.
Yep, and it is a grapple beam there at the wreck ship reserve. He's going to want to pick that up just in case we do have a suitless situation, because you'll need that grapple beam unless you want to do some weird snail climbing shenanigans to get up Meridia.
That's right. So, yeah, but we found the grapple beam, and then I think earlier Toasty found the X-ray scope at X-ray, maybe? Or was it at high jump?
It was at high jump.
Yeah, so that's still pretty good because they already have plasma. Even if they don't have the regular charge beam, they can microwave some bosses in Meridia. It will probably take more than 1 round, though, given how weak that charge shot's going to be, but it's still, easy to maneuver.
Yeah, microwave light, I guess.
So we've got about, 15 or so runners in this race. I'll go ahead and list out everybody who's in it. 64-bit Link, Cassidy Moen, Simon Mache, Dr. Kozak, Alfonso, FenixDown23, Fruitbatsalad, Glaucio Souza, Hero82, Pizza34, Polar Bear Bunny, Richman 3mm, Shiny Zenny, Toasty, Zeb316, and Zoast. Oh no, Toasty's making me a little nervous right here. Okay, he's gonna Crystal Flash.
Yeah, you can see the difference in, the amount of time that these guys that don't have Variosuit are going to spend hell running, having to refill constantly, worrying about Crystal Flash, all that sort of stuff. Zoast is not going to have to worry about that. He's already got his Variosuit.
Yeah, we also saw in the last race earlier today that in situations where you want to do the lower Norfair hell run, oh my god, stacked ship. Oh, baby.
That was that was anything but wrecked.
So basically, wow. Zoast only needs to find, which he will find the spring ball. So technically, he's already in shape where he could do Suitless Meridia, when he finds that item.
He just needs either an ice beam or a gravity suit to essentially be in full-on go mode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Zoast would have no trouble just doing a full-on Suitless Meridia if he doesn't find that gravity suit in a convenient location.
Yeah, that's totally true. But I don't remember what I was saying earlier. Oh, the grapple beam is very powerful because if you're having to hell run lower Norfair, that grapple beam can really help out when you're getting ready to fight Ridley. It makes it way faster and you lose way less. Okay, so yeah, what we've been trying to explain with the qualifiers is only 4 racers can qualify per race, but everyone is allowed to race in every qualifier because we're going to seed it on everyone's fastest time, regardless of how many races they run. So for example, Zeb is in this race, even though he qualified earlier today. Even if he finished in first place, he would not take up one of the 4 qualifying spots for this race. So it'll be the top 4 runners that have not qualified so far.
So is he going to pick up his wave beam? FBS in Bubble Mountain, going to check out what's there. Toasty about to show us what Grapple Beam has for us.
I hope it's something good. Come on, Toasty. Oh,
Ice Beam.
baby.
Okay, that's interesting. Because I don't think Zos is going to Croc before he goes to Lower Norfair.
No, he probably won't. So more than likely, he's just going to clear out Norfair without doing Croc and then do Lower Norfair.
Yep.
It'll be curious to see if Gravity ends up being in Lower Norfair or in one of these Bubble Mountain spots. Because if it's not, then he's pretty much going to be forced to get Ice Beam. I look, man, I hope I didn't curse this thing. I said earlier today that I felt like the seed we had earlier today with the berry location was like, there was like a 90-something% chance it was going to be the most troll seed possible for the 4 qualifiers. If we end up with a suitless Meridia seed, then I'm going to feel really bad because I promise I'm not.
Suitless Meridia is not troll. These guys all should know how to do that by now.
Yeah, but it just, a lot of people are going to check every item before they commit to it.
Oh,
you know
sure.
what I mean? So but it's just real slow.
But in Zo's case, to talk about, if I were him, I'm not even sure I would check. I'd jump and Ice Beam. I mean, I just might beeline to Lower Norfair and then check all the Upper Norfair stuff on the way out if I don't get my Gravity Suit.
Yeah, you still got to do.
He's got to do Crate. I mean, you got to do Crate. I mean, I would doing this now, doing this later. This I would definitely do first. You're not going to gain time by doing this after. And you could forget because I mean, it's not like in we talk about in an any percent run when we do PKRD versus PRKD. There are subtle differences that make it better to do Ridley first, but those really don't apply here because those differences have to do with having speed booster versus not having speed booster, getting those super missile refills, whereas where you only have a 10 super missile run, here you have a lot more super missiles. It's not really a big deal. So
interesting choice. Yeah, you're right. Interesting choice here. Fruitbatsalad electing to basically hell run throughout Bubble Mountain. Toasty went to Croc first, opted not to do any hell running. In fact, he's going to head up to Rex Ship now. Fruitbatsalad's going to end up finishing the Bubble Mountain area, and then he will, I would assume, probably check Croc, or he might just decide to go straight to Rex Ship as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But that space jump item really paying dividends during a lot of these rooms.
Well, yeah, and that's the nice thing about that space jump item is that it just makes these hell runs so much easier in general. We're certainly getting enough E-tanks for all of this. FBS already at 7 E-tanks and some number of reserves.
Yeah, can't blame him for continuing to pick them up, though. It's always... when you don't have variant, you don't know where it is. It's always a good idea to keep refilling so you don't have to be in a dangerous situation on hell runs. I'm
not a fan of skipping energy tanks until either you have Varia or you've done all the hell runs.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that. Some people are I don't think it's like a bad decision. Some people are more comfortable than others. I just, how I feel. I'm pretty conservative on my on my runs. I just don't feel like there's any need to take a lot of risk for 7 seconds, if that makes sense.
And a rare movement error from Zos there, missing that mock ball, but he'll get it the next try. And actually, he's got speed booster. Doesn't even have to do it.
Right. There's no telling. He's probably just goofing around. So Fruitbatsalad did opt to go to Croc, which I think is a good call. He's going to be happy to find his Ice Beam. I don't know about you, Tracy, but I don't care what the seed is. I don't care what kind of randomizer it is. I breathe a sigh of relief every time I find Ice Beam.
Oh, absolutely. It just makes Turian so much simpler. Allows you to Zeb skip without having to worry about using a speed booster. So, I mean, I'm one of those, I can't speed Zeb skip. So if I don't have Ice Beam, I'm still going to collect ammo, even if I have Charge Beam, just to make sure I can get through Zeb. So finding that Ice Beam just makes that unnecessary.
That's correct. Zo's getting the really nice mock ball out of there, even without Ice Beam, which is really hard to do.
He got the hard one and had trouble with the easy one.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, to be fair, there's nothing. I say easy with a grain of salt. I mean, for those of us that have done these things for a long time, we've all been at the point where those things weren't easy. So, I don't want to trivialize the skill that we have on display here, trying to do those tricks. Okay, Toasty into his fan tune fight.
That's right. I wonder if he's gonna try to do some microwave. I think I would. And Fruitbatsalad, ice baby. Let's go. He said that to me in my Discord the other day, so I had to get that in there.
Okay, let's see if zoasty decides to check any of the Bubble Mountain area if he heads straight down to Lower Norfair. Oh, interesting. He might just be farming up. Let's see if he may either be farming up, or he may be going to Croc. Yeah, I think just farming up makes the most sense. Especially since Lower Norfair spits you out right at Bubble Mountain, which is a really nice location to end up at. And then you can just check the Bubble Mountain areas then. But no, looks like he is going to go ahead and check it first. I'm a little surprised.
Well, I don't necessarily blame him. He already has a bunch of items that can make this very quick, and it's possible to also run into potentially some super missiles or whatnot. I do think, in theory, like, you know, doing it your way would be better. But going ahead and grabbing even a couple energy tanks is also not a terrible thing.
Not at all.
So, also, if he happens to find Charge Beam, for example, like if he was planning to check these items anyway, on the way out, if he found Charge Beam here, it would greatly sort of make things faster for him in Lower Norfair.
Yeah, sure.
Toasty getting ready to head over here to the wreck ship right side item, which I think was it Screw Attack?
This one was, Screw Attack was the wreck ship supers. So we're gonna get Screw Attack, Varia, Grapple, and High Jump. I mean, not an E-Tank among them.
I know.
That's pretty crazy.
That is.
I can't remember the last time I saw a wreck ship without at least one E-Tank or reserve tank.
Yeah, that's what you call a stacked ship right there.
Absolutely.
In this logic, gravity can be in Meridia in 3 places. Yep. Mama Turtle, reserve tank location, which is the sand pit, and then at Botwin. However, if the seed is going to force you, which, by the way, the chances of a suitless seed happening, I think, are around like 3% or something, so it's not very high. But if a seed does force you into that, it has to give you a certain item set, like that includes high jump boots and ice beam and grapple beam, and depending on where you're trying to get to, spring ball. It's not going to force you into a situation where you can't do it.
Yeah, Spring Ball can be required to get the item at Mama Turtle. The other 2 locations need, let's see, Batwoon needs to have the Grapple Beam in addition. I guess, I hadn't thought about the Sand Pit in a while since we don't have it in the league, but I guess that only needs a Spring Ball as well. You don't, no wait, that would need a Grapple Beam as well, because you need to get through Mount Everest. But I will point out, we only have a few locations left where gravity can be.
Yeah.
And we already have all the items we need.
Yeah, I think it's only 3, right?
We have
Screw Attack, Ridley, and Fire.
We have the 3 Lower Norfair locations. So, you know, although the percentages don't quite line up like this, it is essentially a 50-50 shot that we're going to have a Suitless Meridia here. And Zo's about to head into his lava dive. This cannot be required without high jump boots, so.
We need to also point out that one of the changes to the dash randomizer in general is that, how can I explain this? Various suit used to provide by itself in most randomizers, I think like 75% reduction to environmental damage, such as acid and stuff and lava. In this randomizer, that is not the case. You'll notice that Zos took more damage during that lava dive because each suit gives you 50% damage reduction to basically everything, except for Varia completely blocks heat damage. Gravity only provides 50%, or I guess I shouldn't say only, but it does provide 50%, which is more than it used to because it used to do none. But so he's got to be careful even during lava dives. You can't do it with a small number of E-takes.
Nice first try green gate glitch from Zos there.
Yeah, I love these rippers too, filling back up on some super action.
And just a reserve tank at the GT location. So we're getting closer and closer to that Sulis Meridia situation.
We are. Zos did one thing here that I understand where he's coming from, but I kind of feel like from a tactical perspective, would have been better for him to get that refill, because when you only have various suit, you take a lot more damage. Like, you know, you're going to be getting hit for a lot if you run into any of these creatures. But the flip side of that is he knows himself really well. He's got high jump boots, screw attack, space jump. So as long as he doesn't make a huge error here in the amphitheater, then he's probably going to be fine.
Yeah, this room right here is actually kind of scary when you don't have that gravity suit, since you can't move in the acid very well. But of course, he has no problem with it. Just really important when you go into that room, if you have space jump, to jump through the door so you don't fall all the way down.
Correct, and he will have an opportunity to farm up a little bit before the fight with Ridley if he wants to. But you know, it's just one of those situations where Ridley can really troll you, and if you think about how much health Zoast has here, he's going to get a lot of health from the Metal Pirates, but he's got like what, 5 tanks? That's really kind of like fighting Ridley with 2.5 tanks.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to just a normal any percent run when you think about it, because he's got more tanks, but he's got no gravity suit.
Correct. So Toasty picking up his grappling beam. Fruitbatsalad is also collecting his items in the wreck ship location. In the meantime, looks like FenixDown is opting to, after he collected his ice beam from Crocomire, he will also be heading up to the wreck ship. And Zos probably going to just space jump his way across this room. I don't think... I like the play here, picking up the extra health.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't necessarily think he'll mega farm before Ridley. I think he's just going to shoot a super and then go into the fight.
Yeah, 24 supers is going to be plenty. He's got the starter charge beam with the wave.
Oh, I was wrong.
Okay, nope, he's going to go ahead and farm just a little bit. It's not that much to farm, you know, so...
Don't blame him at all. I think it's a good call. And he got extra power bombs, which can help in the future, so... Doing a little pogo manipulation here.
Yeah, and I like the way he started this out. So he started out with just a charge beam, and then once he got Ridley into that pogo, that's when he switched over to some supers, because you can just fire them so much quicker. And now it looks like he's going to wait until Ridley turns that nice pink color to switch back to supers to finish off the fight, so he doesn't have to worry about counting.
Yeah, this is pretty comfy fight for him, though. Having speed booster and high jump boots makes the movement in the fight quite familiar. And he's going to wrap this up.
Yeah, I think Ridley was already dead after a little bit earlier than he thought, but it never hurts to get those 2 extra shots in just to be sure. And do we have gravity here? We do.
Got him. No suitless Meridia today, ladies and gentlemen. So,
well, that's going to be... I'm going to say Zos is not checking Croc and not going to get that ice beam.
No,
so he's probably going to want to try and pick up another power bomb pack somewhere so he can get through Torian without having to worry about refilling.
Correct, and the good news for him is in this dash randomizer, that's way more likely to happen since there are way more power bombs than other traditional randomizers. So he probably will pretty easily run into one, and even if he went in with 10, he's still got a decent chance of getting through without having to backtrack.
Yeah, he did skip a few. I wonder if he remembers where any of the ones he skipped that he might just go ahead and back. I believe there were a couple in the Norfair Reserve area that he skipped. He could probably go back and get one of those and be just fine.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, just to give you an idea, we saw a recent league playoff match between Sloaters and a Real Cutie that was, among other things, decided by... they both came into Turian with 10 power bombs, and Cutie got a drop and Sloaters did not. And that was a huge difference in that race.
That's right. That was literally the difference. But one quick thing that I find fascinating about this particular seed, none of our folks on the restream other than Zoast went to wreck ship first, but we have a lot of runners that are not on the restream right now.
Mm-hmm.
And any of those players, like, take multiple runners of basically like similar skill. The ones that went to wreck ship are probably going to go way faster in this particular seed because
absolutely.
they ran the majority of the run with high jump boots, and they're going to not have to farm for hell runs.
Yeah,
So,
and this seed set up really well for a wreck ship first, especially with the, you know, they had speed booster, they had space jumps, so there's no issues in getting over there. No worries about getting over to that energy tank. A lot of times, some runners will choose not to go there because if you don't have a good item to get to that, just even the energy tank, let alone the reserve tank, they might choose not to go there because, you know, if all you have is a power bomb to get up there, that sponge bath strat is a bit of a pain.
speaking of which, Zoast has checked the last 2 minor items in a row, so he's definitely cognizant of looking for those power bombs.
Let's see if he remembers where some of the ones he skipped. I think there might have been one he skipped at Wave Beam as well. Let's see if he goes there.
He still has chances to run into several on Meridia too, so I guess dealer's choice here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I knew there was if I knew for sure that there was a power bomb pack with just, you know, 2 door transitions into that Wave Beam area, I don't remember for sure, then I might go ahead and pick that up. But if I wasn't 100% sure, then no, I wouldn't do that. It looks like he's going to farm a little bit. Let's see if I don't think he's going to go to Croc. I think he's just farming here. Meanwhile, Toasty about to head over to Lower Norfair with a lava dive. And he makes it up. Oh, spoke a little bit too soon there.
Commentator curse, Tracy.
Absolutely. Ugh. Sorry, Toasty.
Oh, and then
Toasty.
He didn't wall jump correctly and ran into that flame. That's really bad for him. But I mean, he's still got plenty. If he gets it this time, he's fine. But he really needs to nail it this time.
He has enough for a crystal flash. He might do that if he decides to, if he doesn't. Okay, he's fine now.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, no surprise, Zoast not checking Crocomire. I wouldn't check Crocomire either. As much as I want that Ice Beam, I don't even think I would go there knowing that Ice Beam was there. Just the amount of time you save for that Ice Beam versus how much time it takes to get it, I don't think is worth it. For sure if you don't know it's there, because if it's just 2 E-Tanks, then you've just wasted a ton of time.
Yeah, and Zoast is about to absolutely wreck this Meridia because he's able to do this Meridia with his entire loadout from GT Classic, which he just recently recaptured the world record in. So which is basically the fastest way you can possibly go through Meridia. So he's about to absolutely just annihilate this section. Looks like he's going to check here for a few power bombs. Is he going to get lucky and find one? Unfortunately,
not this time.
But he's got the Dragon ones he can check. He can also check the crab. What do you call that? Beach or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know that I'd go to beach. I might check the Alpha Power Bombs area. There's 3 miners there. I might do Gauntlet. Gauntlet being a very, very quick check with Space Jump Screw Attack. I don't remember what we saw in the back there. We know it's Spazer in the front, so that's not going to help him at all.
And nicely done Batoon there. Man, I tell you what, Toasty just finished worst room in the game. Runners love having space jump and screw attack in the worst room in the game. It's just like,
oh, absolutely, just
nice
makes
and
that.
comfy.
It's not the worst room in the game when you have space jump and screw attack. Let's face it.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's named that for any percent reasons when you don't have screw attack in particular, but also if you're doing new route, you're not going to have space jump either.
Obligatory full happy hype there on Zoast's screen. Fruitbatsalad making it into Lower Norfair without much issue.
I also
and
like
he's
this.
Head down as well.
As Zoast has been checking these minor items, he's still picking up super packs just to make his mother brain fight a little bit faster since he doesn't have that full-on charge beam.
Yeah, and you know the funny thing is like even if you have charge beam and the full beam combination, super missiles are still actually not really much of a time loss if you pick them up, like in theory.
No, not really, not at all.
Supers are really powerful, like incredibly powerful.
Okay, FPS having a little bit of trouble with that green gate glitch, but he gets it.
I think it was an energy tank down here, or
I think it was a reserve tank, actually.
Reserve, that's right, yeah, because it didn't refill Zoast earlier.
But FVS doing what you talked about earlier, taking the refill here. I do like this.
I do too. I think that's a smart call. But yeah, Zos wrapping up that Dragon fight very quickly. He's got 6 energy tanks, which, you know, he's done now with all of his boss fights. Unfortunately, losing that blue suit, but not a big deal. He can Womple jump out of here. But yeah, he's just going to beeline it more than likely to Torian, while the only stops he's going to make are basically just to check, I think, for, you know, that power bomb pack. But otherwise, he's totally equipped to go down there and you know, do just fine against Mother Brain. Got plenty of health, so he's going quite fast.
Yeah, and I will point out one thing. So he does have 10 power bombs. So we talked about it earlier. It is possible to get the drops necessary to not have to refill. He could, depending on how far out of the way he wants to go for these power bombs, just take that risk. In this situation, I don't think it's maybe as bad a risk because, again, you're playing the field. Chances are, even if you do have to refill, you're still probably going to finish in that top 4 range. But we'll see what he chooses to do here. So, did FenixDown not pick up high jump boots? Because it looks like he's trying to do a high jumpless setup here.
Yeah, it's not marked on the tracker. I don't know if he left. I've seen FenixDown do this before. I've seen FenixDown skip the what do you call it? The bowling area. Mm-hmm. He had it right there.
Yeah, so that was looking pretty good. He's definitely trying to do the high jumpless here. Okay, Zos is setting up with a Shine Spark, so it looks like he's going to check one of these locations, either the Criteria Power Bombs or Gauntlet, out of this save.
Oh, and FenixDown showing off that he plays on a SNES Classic.
Oh, there's your... those are your Power Bombs. Wait, what? What? Did you not pick them up? Wait, what?
What is us doing?
What was that?
Dude, I don't know what is going on here.
That's what you were looking for. I mean, don't get me wrong, supers are nice, but was he just looking for... Is he not even thinking about power?
I'm gonna be honest, I got no idea what's going on. That is a new one for me. I've never seen someone turn down power bombs without Ice Beam and without 3 power bomb packs already. He's on a vegan diet. He can't he can't do any cheeseburgers right now, and he's picking up the supers.
He wanted supers. He wasn't looking for power bombs at all. He's been looking for supers all along.
And the missile. He turned down the power bombs without the missiles. You know what? I love it, man. What a He's just trolling us.
So normally I would root for him to get the drops, but I kind of want to see him not get the drops after he skipped those power bombs.
Well, I'm not gonna try to anger you know, one of the greatest runners of all time. So I'm just gonna root for everybody to get everything.
Okay, that's fair. Oh, and a real cutie making a good point. He's actually he's going down with only 9. He needs to get 3 drops to not have to refill.
I think he probably just forgot, and like after room 3, he's gonna go, oh dang it.
Yep, he's good. Well, ironically enough, in a later game in that same Slaughter's Real Cutie matchup, in the playoffs, Slaughter's actually ended up getting 4 power bomb drops on one of these. So it is possible.
It is, and if I recall, you know, we're gonna bring in some tech here that most people don't know about because most people don't run low percent speed. But to run low percent speed at your fastest possible time basically requires, I believe, a 12% chance for you to get 2 drops throughout Torian, because no matter what, you're going to have to go and refill one time
right.
at the ship.
Yep.
So even getting 2 powerbomb drops at all in the first 3 rooms is like 12%, I think, somewhere in that ballpark. So
yep. And there he goes.
he's
Didn't get a
aware.
single powerbomb drop, so he's gonna have to refill.
But it'll be okay. I mean, he's still way ahead.
Oh, he's fine. Just is it not the thing you expect to see?
Pretty sure it's not as high as 20%. I mean, the world record holder mentioned. Oh, maybe that's right. Yeah, maybe that's right. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Cutie's correct. To get 2 in the first 2 rooms, which is what you have to do, basically or you have to get 1 in the first 2 rooms, or 1 in the first room and 1 in the third room. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
To get those 2 specifically, I think is around 12%. But it makes that category really nasty because you can have your sickest run, but then you get down there and it doesn't matter because you end up wasting 2 minutes trying to get power bombs.
Okay, so decides to farm the K goes for. He gets 1. He needs 2 more. Gets another one. Oh, he got 2 more. Okay, he's good. Yeah, and to something that's being talked about in chat, what a lot of people will do is if you go to the back of Gauntlet, you have to use a power bomb to get up there, but it's a guaranteed 2 drops. So one strategy you'll see runners use, especially if they only need 1, is they'll just go ahead and go up there to get the power bombs.
One thing I do want to point out, and this is something that is like technically I thought about this in advance when I was trying to decide how to balance this randomizer. And again, we're still getting data, still pretty early in the process. This is version 8, but we're still, getting data from people, and we're going to continue to balance things out. But I love the fact that we just saw Zoast, one of the best runners in the world. He's got plasma and wave, but still starter charge, and he's still, through some of his experiences in the past with this randomizer, felt like it was a good idea to get more super missiles on the way. So like what you have to think about in this randomizer in particular is very, very different. And the way people race this randomizer is going to be very intriguing because there's just, it's going to be really hard to pinpoint exactly how fast certain things are going to be and what they're going to be able to do for you. So
yeah, and I did I really liked that he kept picking up the supers as he was checking the minor items. Just a little perplexity and pick up that power bomb pack.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, I think, oh, wow, that was close.
Oh, he was going for the spring ball one, too.
Yeah. I'm a little perplexed why he didn't pick up the powerbomb one. He probably, after he thought about it, meant to. He just forgot. But I do think it's interesting that he continued to pick up some items, and I bet you that it probably will make the fight a little bit faster anyway.
Oh, probably, yeah. I also like that he went for that spring ball baby skip. Yeah, it's a very difficult strat. It's almost a year old. It was discovered about, I want to say, last January. But the nice thing about it is you'll notice when he failed it very quickly. Whereas, the normal baby skip, you'll jump around and jump around and jump around. When you fail at the very end, you've wasted a ton of time, as opposed to here where he just failed it immediately and was able to move on.
That's right, but unless something weird happens, Zoast, by the way, Zoast is like godlike stature when it comes to short charging. I mean, like, he didn't even have to fall off the ledge. He got that with so much space. I was going to say, he's going to finish this seed pretty quickly, and assuming nothing bad happens here at Mother Brain, which it shouldn't with the various suit on. Well, and he's got plenty of ammo, so.
Yep, and he can't do stand-up here, so that's not going to screw him up. He doesn't have enough E-tanks for it.
No, stand-up is great, but at the same time, I feel like people overvalue it a little bit. If you're going out of your way to get stand-up, you're probably losing time.
Probably, and in this case, he's only got the starter charge me anyway, so it's not going to save a ton of time. Worry if he had enough E-tanks to do it.
Fruitbatsalad getting ready to start his Dragon fight. Toasty, in the meantime, has finished all the bosses and is heading down towards Torian as we speak.
Yeah, it's FBS going ahead and using that starter charge beam with the microwave. You can see how it's just not quite as powerful for those of you that have seen that strat before.
Unfortunately, a little goop spark action. I think he's going to try to wrap it up here with a final microwave shot here. And he got it.
You'll notice he was kneeling, he was crouched down while he was doing that. The nice thing about the Dragon fight is you'll automatically be put into a standing position when Dragon's dead, so you know when to stop.
And I gotta say, since I consider Zoast a friend, you know how you can rib your friends a little bit. Let's all give a standing ovation to Zoast for not running into Mother Brain too many times this time. And I'll put it to you this way, I can't say for sure because I'm not watching anybody else's, but based on what I've seen and what I know about, how a lot of the other players approach Randomizer, I'd be pretty shocked if Zoast didn't take the first place spot. And at minimum, this is surely going to be a top 4 spot. So,
oh, absolutely.
Looks like we're going to have the Zoast Master in the one-day dash tournament.
Toasty also looking good in Torian right now.
Yeah, Toasty doing quite well here. Gonna get ready for his baby skip attempt. Toasty ended up collecting only 4 energy tanks. That's not, I know he has a reserve or 2, but that's not overly common to have that few.
Well, he left Norfair a lot faster than some of the other runners, so that makes a lot of sense. Whereas...
Yeah, we got a question in the chat about the tournament. Yes, the tournament will be a one-day thing. Not only when I was designing this randomizer, not only did I want to do this, but I kind of wanted to put my own spin on a cool event. And we had talked for a long time about how there had never been a one-day event. So 16 players will qualify. We will try to get each race knocked out within like 90 minutes, and we will do every single race of the entire tournament starting at noon and hopefully be done by midnight on January the 18th. We will also be featuring a fundraiser for the SG Live 2020 Super Metroid Randomizer Tournament. We're going to have a crowd control race where a portion of all the donations will go towards that tournament. So very excited to do this.
So do we know what people runners you got had to do the crowd control yet?
We have not picked that yet. I'll figure that out once I get an idea of who all is qualified and all that jazz.
Okay, Zo's finishing up Mother Brain 3, just gonna do the escape.
And ladies and gentlemen, as we pointed out earlier, this is the second qualifier out of 4. The next 2, like qualifier 3 and 4, nice blue bomber by the way. Qualifier 3 will be next week. It'll be on Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern, just like this week. And then the 4th and final one will be that night, Saturday at 7 p.m., just like this one was. So 2 more to go. A lot of hype. It's going to be cool.
So the nice behemoth spark up the climb.
And it's looking like Zoast is going to finish this race in first place with an official SRL time of 53 minutes, 19 seconds. Well done. Congratulations, Zoast.
GG to Zoast.
That also makes him the #1 overall seed of everyone qualified right now, because that is a faster time than Sloter's time from earlier today of 54:17. So Zoast will now be slotted for the next for the next week at minimum into that #1 seed for the tournament.
Meanwhile, we got Toasty in his Mother Brain fight. I don't think anybody found Charge Beam.
No, they didn't.
And you'll notice that neither one of these guys, either Toasty or FBS, who are heading into this fight right now. Neither one of them picked much in the way of ammo beyond 2530 and 3520. Not nearly as much as what Zoast has, so not a lot to supplement.
Hey, hype! Richman 3mm has just finished in second place with an official SRL time of 54:46. Rich is a good buddy of mine and had helped me test some of these seeds and just recently got his capture equipment back so he could do some races and came in today and ran a really fast time and got second place.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Congratulations to Rich
big
for qualifying for the
congratulations.
tournament. What's really funny is he messaged me earlier today. He didn't think he was going to be able to race because the computer part that he ordered that he had to have to be able to stream tonight arrived at the mail location like 9 hours ago, but never made it to his house. And then as soon as he messaged me like an hour before the race, it finally showed up.
Nice. Well, just in time. Okay, FBS in his Mother Brain 1 as Toasty's wading through the cutscene. So Toasty and FBS both looking pretty good, but we still have a lot of other runners that could snipe them at this point.
Yep, so Toasty, wrapping up this Mother Brain 3. I always get nervous. I've never been in a qualifier before, actually, now that I think about it. All my races that are like, actually for something important or whatever, that aren't just like, fun races, they're all 1v1, so I always get really nervous whenever nobody's done and I kill Mother Brain, because I'm like, oh my god, if they finish before I get to the ship, it's going to be such a heartbreaker.
Absolutely. And we just brought in 64-bit Link on the restream, and he's getting pretty close too. FBS careful to damage himself down the right amount here. And this is interesting. So Toasty is about to finish up in third place with an official SRL time of 57:52, exactly tied with Pizza, also at 57:52. So GG to Toasty and to Pete.
Holy moly. So that right there will be your 4 qualifiers for this particular race. We got Zoast qualifying, we got Richman qualifying, Pizza and Toasty taking the last 2 spots. Congratulations to them. What a performance. That's very exciting.
That is really exciting. A shame we couldn't have had them both on that restream to see them finish at the same time, but wow. You don't see a lot of ties in SRL. It's pretty tight when that happens. And unfortunately for others on the restream here, FBS, FenixDown, 64-bit Link, and FBS and Link almost both getting close to finishing up. They're not going to make it in this one, though. They're going to have to try for another qualifier. FBS going to go ahead and finish this out. So I have a feeling that this is kind of a separation between those that went to wreck ship. Well, basically, how early did you go to wreck ship? We know Zos went right there. I wonder if Rich as well went right to the wreck ship. We know Toasty bailed on Norfair pretty quickly and headed up to the wreck ship. And of course, we have FBS who full cleared Norfair before heading up there, and that's going to really have hurt him in the end.
Man, what a race. That had to have been some really great performances. I wish we could have seen a few of these other people as well. I wish we could watch everybody. You know what I mean? It would be so fun. If
I would love to watch everybody, but trying to commentate everybody might make my head hurt.
Oh, big time. But yeah, congratulations to FBS for completing 1 hour and 27 seconds. And then right after that, in 7th place, Polar Bear Bunny with 1 hour, 1 minute, and 3 seconds. GG. So again, even for the runners that did not qualify tonight, doesn't have to be a sad thing. We have 8 more spots that'll be open, and everyone who's currently qualified can no longer take those spots. So I really hope and encourage that everybody that ran tonight, if they can, to come back next week at 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock to see if they can take those last 8 spots. But this is really exciting. One thing I do like about the qualifiers is, especially with there only being a certain number from each one, it makes each race exciting. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, totally interested to see what happens.
And we have Toasty joining us. How you doing, Toasty?
Hey, not too bad. How are you guys?
Good.
Great.
Congratulations. So, what was it like putting in that done?
Wow. That was my very first tie, I think.
Well,
That's
they're pretty uncommon.
Pretty wild.
So I got to ask you, because we had a whole lot of this going on last year, and I thought maybe you'd figured this out by now. Did you done ahead of time or no this time?
I did. I typed it in actually this time.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good question. But I did jump all the way over the ship, and so when I was trying to finish, so there were still a few things. Yeah, just pretty wild that.
Yeah. To give you all an idea in chat, so if what typically runners like to do is we'll type .done during the cutscene of the Mother Brain fight, and obviously not hit enter, so that when you get to the ship, all you have to do is hit enter. And Toasty had this bad habit a year ago of not doing that and getting sniped. So
got punished a few times for that.
but yes.
Yeah, good games to zoasty and Richmond as well, and of course Pizza. That's awesome. And yeah, I think I made some questionable choices this one, but I got kind of lucky that I didn't get punished for skipping Waterway, which I just plain forgot, for example, and a few other things. But yeah, it was a fun one. What a stacked ship! Holy cow!
Yeah. Oh my god! Yeah, Zoast went straight to the ship, so no surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, you were lucky
Toasty,
in that you didn't spend too much time in Norfair before heading back up.
Yeah.
Real quick, let me jump in here.
Yeah.
Congratulations on making the tournament. Very excited to have you in there, and thank you for running in both of the races today. Tell us a little bit, as someone who's done a lot of randomizers. Obviously, there's going to be some aspects of the Dash Randomizer that are similar, but then there's a lot of things that kind of make you think differently. What are some things about it that you noticed in your last couple of races that are kind of unique to your experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a big thing in the first race, which kind of affected everybody, I think, was the kind of keeping a suitless lower Norfair in mind. I think that's with the extra damage reduction to heat. So that's just always in the back of my head. It's not like I'm going to 100% clear until I find Varia. I'm thinking, all right, maybe I should pick up E-Tanks and see what happens. And then this one was more of the charge beam feature. Having the full beam combo is kind of equivalent to having like the Spazer beam combo almost. It's like, maybe a little less than 300 damage. So I'm thinking like, okay, this is I do not need to find charge or too much ammo really. And it's because that plasma and all the damage plasma does. So it's but still keeping in mind, like still refilling at the ship, keeping the super count high. So it's cool. Yeah, it's definitely a little different.
Cool, man. Yeah. So anyway, let's talk for a minute about. I like to ask runners what else they're doing. Like, are you, what are you working on right now? Doing any speed runs? Are you any other tournaments or anything like that? Like, what have you been up to lately, apart from the dash?
Yeah, thanks. It's not too much. I haven't been playing too much Super Metroid or speed running, but I did enter into the second J-Chalk's SMRAT tournament. I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
So looking forward to getting back into some more speed running in the new year. It's just been a busy time for me, so is all.
Yeah, I totally understand. But yeah, best of luck in the SM Rat season 2. I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of those matches too. So yeah. Anything you want to add in there, Tracy?
Just congratulations, Toasty, on making it into this tournament. It'd be really fun to have you.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys, and thanks again, Kip. Really cool that you threw this together, and I really like the ideas to balance the items and things like that, and really looking forward to it. So thanks for you and your team, Mass Hysteria, and everybody for getting some fun going.
Yeah, man, no problem. And I want to thank you too and several other people for, in the early processes of this, when we were kind of doing some tests, people gave me some feedback and stuff like that, and just some feedback on not only ratios, but if they like certain ideas and stuff. So I, once again, those are always welcome. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you, Tracy. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yeah, have a good night.
Thanks, Toasty.
Thanks.
Looks like Shiny Zinni here is going to be wrapping up his race shortly. In the meantime, Simon Mache finished in 9th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 11 seconds. Very cool to have him running in these as well. And do we have anybody else that joined in here?
Yeah, we have a couple, Link and FBS, although FBS, you need to unmute your mic if you're gonna join us. Here we go.
Hey, welcome in, guys. How are y'all?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yep.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. That was fun.
Yeah, FBS, you had a great performance. Unfortunately for you, you ended up kind of being at the mercy of how stacked the ship was, and it came later in your route after you did some hell running and stuff. So just tell us a little bit about your experience with the seed.
I had fun with it. I mean, pretty much what you said. I think after I cleared out Upper Norfair, I realized, this was going to be a seed that kind of favored people who went to wreck ship first. So, yeah, I mean, Varia suit was in wreck ship, right? So.
Yep. So was everything else.
I don't know. I was pretty happy with my execution overall. I guess it was my decision making that wasn't so good.
Well, I actually don't think the decision making was bad. It's just like sometimes you go to a location and then it just doesn't pan out. Sometimes there is an element of luck to it. I think you adapted on the fly really well. Mm-hmm. But the problem with wreck ship being so stacked is not only did they have Varia and those people didn't have to hell run, but high jump boots also made everything a lot faster for the rest of the run. So this one was really heavy on the wreck ship items.
Attack.
Yeah. I mean, and we all found Speed Booster early, so everybody had that. But then having Speed Booster, having Speed Booster with high jump versus having Speed Booster without high jump, there's a really big difference.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was kind of struggling with that.
Yep, we also have Link here, 64-bit Link. How are you doing?
Doing well. This seed certainly went way better for me than last qualifier race.
So yeah, we didn't get to, GG. We didn't get to see you on the entire restream, but you want to give us an idea of what route you took? Link? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something's wrong with the mic or something. Hopefully he'll be able to come back and answer. I'm always curious to know, like you mentioned, Tracy, like when you don't see a restream, what they were doing, because the times vary pretty wildly depending on what decisions you make. Mm-hmm. So yeah, hopefully he'll be back. And
this really did turn into. It would be interesting to see of the people we didn't see that finished earlier, whether they went up or down. Like Pete finishing up in Richmond. So Link, that was our first question. So we didn't get to see you on the entire restream. So what route did you take?
Looks like it's still muted. In the meantime, Fruitbatsalad, congratulations on 2 really good performances so far, and really appreciate you supporting the tournament and racing in both qualifiers. I hope to see you next week for the last 2 qualifiers.
Yeah, thank you very much. And GG to Zoast and Richman and who else have we got here? I guess Pizza and Toasty. So yeah, GG to everyone, and I guess I will see you all next week. I'll try to do both of these next weekend. Thanks for hosting this, and thanks for doing commentary, both of you.
No problem, FPS. And I've been asking everybody what else they've been up to. Shout outs to FPS. He's been running a lot of Castlevania 2 speedruns lately. Very entertaining. So
and
if
a
you
very
like
good
some
Kid
Castlevania,
Icarus.
check it out.
Very good at Kid Icarus, one of my favorite games.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good at it.
All right, well, I'll see you all next week.
Yeah,
bye.
See you, man.
Yo.
All right, can you hear us now?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So you want to tell us about your route? Because we didn't get to see, of course, the whole thing.
So basically, I kind of had this. So at the beginning, basically, I went up. I went up to bombs, and then I had this idea that I would go. I went back down to 230, and I think that was like either first supers or something like that. And then I had the idea, okay, maybe I'll just go check Old Mother Brain, and then I just wound up going from there to basically meme route to wrecked ship. And that wound up getting me like all the movement items and Varia, and then from there I just basically went to Norfair. I went to Croc because I figured I hadn't gotten that many energy tanks, so I wanted like a couple more energy tanks for lower Norfair, and I figured like it was basically a toss-up between Bubble Mountain and Croc, but I'm just like, I figured most runners would probably go for Bubble Mountain, so I figured that the way I beat most, or the way I gain any kind of advantage in this race is to just kind of make the opposite decision. So I went to Croc, got 1 E-Tank and Ice Beam, and then just went right to lower Norfair.
That's a smart call. It's cool that you're thinking in that way. You know, like what's going to work best for me versus the field. That's very cool.
But yeah, then I was like, yeah, I think like, yeah, I had when I was in like Meridia, because I had X-ray plasma, and then I was going to X-raying Botwoon, and then I just do my normal few X-ray activations. I'm like, Botwoon's not dead. Oh yeah, I don't actually have charge. So my charge combo was doing a lot less damage.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
But yeah, it was a really fun seed.
And in the meantime, we did have to see FenixDown finish up his time of 1:10:16. So GG.
Yeah, GG to FenixDown, and looking swaggy in that suit. Nicely done. But yeah, thank you again for participating in both races, Link. We really appreciate it, and hope to see you back next week for the other races. What are you currently working on? Like, are you any other tournaments or doing any kind of, particular speed runs at the moment? Like, what are you up to lately on your stream?
So I'm joining the SM Rat Season 2, so so I'm looking forward to that. And I mean, other than that, I mean, I have kind of a long-term thing where I'm planning to learn Skyward Sword any percent. So that'll be fun because that's like a completely different kind of speed game.
You got to do me a favor. When you start running Skyward Sword, you need to change your name during that time to 64-bit Samus. Since you've been 64-bit Link throughout all your Super Metroid runs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that should be fun, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So let's see here. It's hard for me. I got to tell you, it's hard for me to keep track of everything. Like, there's so many things going on. I'm trying to track all these times and put them on the spreadsheet and stuff. Do we have how many people do we have still running here? Is Cassidy the last one?
That's a good question.
Or
I think he
can't
may be
remember
the
who
last
else
because our wonderful SG restreamer reminded me has been swapping in people
yeah.
as others have finished. So I think Cassie's gonna be the last one here.
And I
Decides
don't
to
think
go
I
for that
mentioned.
blue bomber.
Yeah, I don't think I've mentioned Dimensive yet. Who's been tracking for us? Thank you for tracking both the race earlier today and tonight's match as well. We would, as FBS likes to say, the trackers are the unsung heroes of the Super Metroid world because they don't get a lot of credit, but it's hard.
They're doing the
work.
hard work. It is
Oh,
hard
big
work.
time.
I am bad at tracking. I don't like to do it. I'm glad we have other people that do like to do it and are good at it, like Dimensive.
I agree. So, but yeah, it looks like Cassidy's going to finish up here. And thank you again to Link for coming in and doing an interview and for racing today. And really happy to see this seed went a lot better than the last one. The thing about these dash seeds is like, it's not necessarily that they're troll, but a lot of times if you're like a little overconfident and you go into like lower Norfair with not enough health or something like that, and then you just make just a few small errors that would otherwise not normally kill you, it can really catch up with you fast. So I think we're going to see several runners kind of like really try to figure out what's going to make them comfortable as they make it through that lower Norfair section as we continue along. It's not as free as people in the chat think. I can assure you that much. Tracy, you played a lot of Super Metroid.
Oh, yeah.
Usually the people that say it's easy, they don't. They might not.
They don't know. They just don't know. But we are going to get Cassimone is going to finish up with an official SRL time of 1:16:35, and that's going to do it. Last racer. But GG for finishing. We did have a few forfeits. I don't like to shout out forfeits, so I'm not going to do that. But we do have. So Cassidy, congratulations for finishing.
I'm not afraid to shout out the forfeits.
It's your tournament. You go for it.
I want to make fun of Tracy M. She got forfeited a long time ago before this thing even started.
There you go.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you, Tracy, for doing the co-commentary with me tonight. And once again, thank you to everybody from SpeedGaming. They have helped us tremendously in putting this together. Tracy and I, and well, neither one of us will be running in any of these races because we're just going to basically be the organizers for the event.
I'm much smarter when I commentate than when I play. Okay?
I feel that way, to be honest with you, most of the time. So, but yeah, so Mass Hysteria, who did commentary with me earlier today, he and I, and then also Tracy, we're going to be organizing the full event. We'll also be doing a lot of commentary for not only the qualifiers, but on the day of. If you guys want to join the Discord for the Dash, then just type in !dash into the chat. That will take you to a link that tells you about the tournament. Within that link, there should be a link to the main page of our tournament, of our randomizer, and there should be links to the Discord server in there as well. So everybody's welcome to come check it out. And I guess with that said, I'll leave it to you to close this out, Tracy.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, Kip. Thank you for putting this on. And this is going to be a fun day when we have the actual tournament itself. So I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you to SpeedGaming and to Mind of Me for setting everything up in the background, and to all of you for watching. I am going to shout out a couple of things. We are still in the first round of our league playoff tournament, and tomorrow we have a really hype game 3 between Cross Product and Dirksu. If I'm not mistaken, they've chosen full randomizer, and it's going to be a boss order, full randomizer for their game 3, and that's going to be at 4:00 tomorrow. So be sure to tune in for that.
Hey,
I don't know what the channel is yet, but really looking forward to that one.
It's one of the SpeedGaming channels, right?
It is a SpeedGaming channel, yes.
Yeah, I just want to say how disappointed I am because I'm also in the playoffs. I've already made it to round 2, and I was supposed to probably find out my second round opponent today after some races, and then we had a runner that didn't show up, so now I'm still in mystery.
And in fact, let's see. I think it looks like we're going to be on SpeedGaming 3 tomorrow, so that'll be at 4:00 on SpeedGaming 3. Cross Product versus Dirksu. Should be a really fun match. So make sure you do tune in for that. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got. So yeah, that'll be it for us. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you may be.